Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, let me tell you something today. We live in a world where it's easy to get overwhelmed, distracted, pulled in every direction. And sometimes the things weighing us down are the very things we choose to carry. But what if I told you that some of the heaviest burdens in your life you can and should put down quietly and for good? Let's talk about negativity and self-doubt, two silent killers of dreams, ambition, and potential. Now, I'm not just talking about the negativity you hear from others, though that's part of it. I'm talking about the negativity that comes from within. The kind that creeps in when you're alone, when the lights are off and the world is quiet. That little voice that whispers, "You're not good enough, who do you think you are?" It's a thief, and it robs you of your peace, your focus, your strength. We've all been there second-guessing ourselves, downplaying our achievements, letting someone else's opinion hold more weight than our own self-worth. But let me tell you, negativity and self-doubt are like weeds in the garden of your mind. If you don't pull them out by the roots, they'll choke the life out of everything good you're trying to grow. They'll have you thinking small, playing small, and believing that you're meant to stay small. The people around you can contribute to this too. Maybe it's friends, family, colleagues, people who are quick to tell you what you can't do, what you're not capable of. They project their own fears, their own insecurities onto you, and before you know it, you start wearing them like they're your own. You've got to recognize that. You've got to be aware of it. And then, without a big fuss, you need to start eliminating those voices, both the external ones and the internal ones. Self-doubt is tricky, though, because it disguises itself as being humble or realistic. But there's a difference between humility and self-sabotage. Humility is knowing where you stand, being aware of your strengths and weaknesses, and constantly striving to improve. Self-doubt, on the other hand, is when you let those weaknesses define you, when you allow them to dictate what you'll try, what you'll pursue, and ultimately how far you'll go. That's not how you were meant to live. You weren't put on this earth to question your own worth every day. You weren't given your talents, your vision, your dreams just to let them wither under the weight of insecurity. But here's the thing, it won't go away on its own. You've got to actively eliminate it. Step by step, thought by thought, conversation by conversation. Start replacing those doubts with truths. Remind yourself of the times you've succeeded, the mountains you've already climbed. And when that negativity tries to creep back in, you shut it down, quietly, without apology. Let's dive into toxic relationships. Now, we all know relationships are supposed to bring something to the table, whether it's love, support, encouragement, or even a challenge that helps us grow. But when a relationship becomes toxic, when it starts taking more from you than it gives, that's when you need to pay attention. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. It could be friends, family, colleagues, anyone you keep close who doesn't have your best interest at heart. Toxic relationships have a way of creeping into your life quietly. At first, you might not even notice it. Maybe it's that friend who only shows up when they need something, or that family member who never seems happy for your success, always has something negative to say, or makes you feel small. Over time, those interactions build up. They drain your energy, shift your focus, and start making you question your own worth. The dangerous part, you start thinking it's normal, that it's just how life is, that everyone has those people in their lives. But here's the truth, you don't owe anyone a place in your life if they are constantly draining you. You don't owe them your peace, your energy, or your time. Toxic relationships can be like a slow poison. You don't notice it at first, but little by little they change you. They steal your joy, your optimism, your sense of self. And before you know it, you're carrying the weight of someone else's issues, someone else's insecurities, and you don't even realize how heavy it's become. People who truly care about you, who value you, they're not in the business of tearing you down. They want to see you succeed, see you thrive, see you become the best version of yourself. Toxic people. They're threatened by your growth. They want you to stay where you are, because if you grow, it makes them uncomfortable. So they'll pull you back with subtle jabs, passive-aggressive comments, or by making you feel guilty for wanting more out of life. Here's the hard part. Sometimes those toxic relationships come from people you've known for years, people you thought would be with you for the long haul. That's what makes it difficult to cut ties. You feel a sense of obligation, of loyalty, of history. But history doesn't justify letting someone continuously undermine your future. Just because someone's been around doesn't mean they deserve a front row seat in your life. You don't have to make a big scene. No need for dramatic exits or long explanations. You can quietly, gradually start to distance yourself. Give yourself permission to protect your peace, your mental health, your well-being. You see, when you allow toxic people to stay in your life, they don't just affect your mood or your day. They influence your decisions, your mindset, your trajectory. They become a barrier between you and the life you're meant to live. Let's take a moment to talk about procrastination. Now, procrastination is a subtle enemy. It doesn't come at you with loud distractions or big temptations. No, it's quiet. It whispers, you've got time, you can do it later, tomorrow will be better. And before you know it, days turn into weeks, weeks into months. And those dreams, those goals, they just sit there untouched, gathering dust. Procrastination isn't just about putting off tasks, it's deeper than that. It's about delaying your potential. It's about letting moments pass you by, moments you could have used to change your life, but instead you let them slip through your fingers. And the dangerous part? You don't feel the weight of procrastination right away. It feels like nothing. But it's time. Time you can never get back. You see, we trick ourselves into thinking there's always going to be more time. We tell ourselves that we'll start when we're ready, when we feel motivated, when the circumstances are perfect. But let me tell you something, there will never be a perfect moment. The stars won't align. The universe won't send you a special sign. You've got to create the moment. You've got to make the decision to act right now with what you have, where you are. What we don't realize is that procrastination is fear in disguise. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of the unknown. It's easier to push things off than to face that fear head on. It's easier to say, I'll do it tomorrow because tomorrow feels safe. Tomorrow keeps us from having to confront the possibility that we might fall short today. But here's the thing, progress doesn't come from comfort. It doesn't come from waiting for the right time. It comes from taking action, messy, imperfect, uncertain action. When you procrastinate, you not only delay your goals, you delay your growth. You miss out on the lessons you could have learned, the experiences that could have shaped you. Every time you choose to put something off, you're choosing comfort over progress, and that's a dangerous game to play. Because before long, procrastination becomes a habit. And once it's a habit, it becomes a way of life. But what most people don't realize is that every time they procrastinate, they're making a decision. They're choosing not to take that step forward. And those little decisions add up. You may not feel the impact of it today, but weeks, months, even years down the line, you'll look back and realize how many opportunities passed you by. How many doors you never opened simply because you kept telling yourself later. The truth is, time doesn't wait. Life doesn't wait. Opportunities don't wait. You either seize them or you lose them. And while you're waiting for the perfect moment, someone else is out there doing the work, taking the steps, moving forward. Procrastination might feel harmless, but it's the enemy of success. It's the silent force that keeps you stuck, that keeps you from becoming who you were meant to be. Let's get into something that's been holding too many of us back for far too long, fear of failure. Now, this fear is one of the most powerful chains you can put on yourself. It's not loud, it's not obvious, but it's there, gripping you, keeping you from stepping into your potential. It whispers in your ear every time you're about to take a risk, every time you're on the verge of something great. What if you fail? What if you're not enough? What if people see you stumble? And that's enough to make you hesitate, to make you pull back, and before you know it, you've talked yourself out of even trying. But here's the truth, failure is not the enemy. It's part of the process. It's a necessary step on the road to success. Every single person you admire, every success story you've ever heard, it's been built on a foundation of failure. You don't hear about those times because we like to highlight the wins, the achievements, the final moments when everything comes together. But behind all that is a series of failures, of lessons learned, of moments when things didn't go as planned. And yet the people who succeed, they keep going, they keep showing up, they keep trying, because they understand that failure isn't a dead end, it's just a detour. The fear of failure, though, it paralyzes you. It makes you think that one mistake, one setback is the end of the road. But in reality, failure is just feedback. It's life's way of telling you, all right, that didn't work. Now let's try something else. You learn more from your failures than you ever will from your successes. Success feels good, sure, but failure teaches you resilience, grit, and determination. It shows you what you're made of when things don't go your way. And the thing is, once you've failed and picked yourself back up, you realize that failure isn't something to be afraid of. It's something to embrace. But fear of failure doesn't just stop you from trying new things, it stops you from dreaming big. It keeps you thinking small, playing it safe, sticking with what's comfortable. You tell yourself, I'll stay here because at least here I know I won't fail. But comfort zones are just prisons disguised as security. They keep you locked in, convincing you that where you are is good enough, that reaching for more is too risky. Fear of failure makes you settle. And settling, that's the real failure. What we don't realize is that fear of failure is rooted in pride. We're more afraid of what other people will think of how they'll judge us if we don't succeed than we are of the failure itself. We're so concerned with protecting our image, our ego, that we hold ourselves back from greatness. But the truth is, people are too busy worrying about their own lives to be focused on your failures. And even if they do see you fail, so what? You tried. You had the courage to step into the arena, to put yourself out there, and that's more than most people will ever do. Fear of failure also robs you of joy. It makes every decision feel like a life or death situation. You're so focused on avoiding failure that you forget to enjoy the journey, to appreciate the process. You're so worried about the outcome that you never stop to look around and say, I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm getting better. And that's where the real magic happens in the process, in the effort, in the moments where you push yourself to do something you didn't think you could do. Now, understand this failure doesn't define you. How you respond to it does. You're not a failure just because something didn't go your way. You're only a failure if you quit, if you stop trying, if you let that fear stop you from taking another step forward. Let's talk about overcommitment, one of the most overlooked traps we set for ourselves. You see, in this world, it's easy to get caught up in the mindset that more is better. More work, more projects, more responsibilities. We think being busy means being productive, and that saying yes to everything makes us more valuable, more needed, more important. But let me tell you, overcommitment doesn't elevate you, it drains you. It spreads you too thin, leaving you with no time, no energy, and no room for what truly matters. When you overcommit, you sacrifice quality for quantity. You're doing more, but you're not doing your best. Your time and attention are split between so many things that none of them get the focus they deserve. And the people around you, they may not say it, but they feel it. They know when you're not fully present, when you're there in body, but your mind is somewhere else, running through that endless to-do list in your head. It's like you're giving pieces of yourself to everything and everyone, but no one ever gets the whole, undivided version of you. Now, we overcommit for a lot of reasons. Sometimes it's because we don't want to let people down. We don't want to say no because we're afraid of disappointing others, of being seen as unreliable or incapable. But here's the reality: saying yes to everything doesn't make you a hero. It makes you overwhelmed, overworked, and eventually burned out. You can't pour from an empty cup, and overcommitment guarantees that cup will run dry. Then there's the fear of missing out. We say yes because we don't want to miss an opportunity, a chance to shine, to prove ourselves. But every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your priorities, you're saying no to something that does. You're trading your time for tasks that don't move you forward. that don't serve your long-term goals. And at the end of the day, you're left wondering why you're exhausted, why you're not making the progress you want to make. It's because your time is your most valuable resource, and overcommitment wastes it on things that aren't serving your purpose. Overcommitment also comes from wanting to please everyone. You want to be the go-to person, the one who can handle it all, who can juggle everything without breaking a sweat. But here's the thing: when you commit to too much, you inevitably end up letting someone down. You miss deadlines, you fall short of expectations, you start to resent the very commitments you agreed to. And the worst part, you start letting yourself down. Your own dreams, your own goals, they get pushed to the side, buried under the weight of obligations that aren't even yours to carry. What most people don't realize is that overcommitment is a form of self-sabotage. It keeps you busy, but not productive. It keeps you in motion, but not moving forward. You get caught in this cycle of doing more, but achieving less. And in the process, you lose sight of what's really important. You lose sight of your peace, your purpose, and your ability to excel in the things that truly matter to you. So what does this all come down to? Life is too short, too precious to be weighed down by things that don't serve you. Negativity, toxic relationships, procrastination, fear of failure, overcommitment, these are silent burdens that slow your progress, steal your joy, and keep you from becoming the person you were meant to be. You don't need to make a grand announcement when you choose to eliminate them. Just quietly, deliberately start letting them go. You'll notice the difference in how you feel, how you move, how you think. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about freeing yourself from the chains you've been carrying, chains that were never meant for you. Because once you make room in your life for what truly matters, you'll find yourself walking lighter, living freer, and standing taller, ready to seize the opportunities that await you.